In this video, I'm going to teach you how to make this magical unicorn cake. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner or a professional. I'm going to show you step by step how to carve the shape, how to make this beautiful mane, and look at this golden horn. And if you don't want to make a unicorn, watch anyway if you want to learn how to make a horse. I'm Claire, so let's get going. To get the realistic look, I used a template of a horse's head. I went online, printed it out, and placed it on my cake. Now I'm ready to actually start turning this into a unicorn. To cut the head out, we just need a small sharp knife, and you want to keep your knife upright, and it's a lot easier for you if you place your hand on top of the template before you start cutting to keep it in place. And all you do is just go straight down and cut all the way around the whole of the horse's head. You will notice that my ears are sticking out. Don't worry about the ears for now. I'm going to explain to you what we're going to do with them. But in the meantime, just go all the way around the horse's head like this. It's very, very simple. I'll just bring that down there. So I've gone around the whole of the horse. Just be very careful when you're using a knife. And then I'm going to remove my excess pieces. Make sure you keep hold of this because we're going to need this bit for the ears. Then remove this bit here. Okay. Now for the ears, we just take the piece that we've cut off here. Make sure you've got a nice flat edge. And then we just want to place that on our top bit here. Just push it nicely up against it. Pop it back down, and then we cut our ears out of the excess. Just be very careful with this when you're using the sharp knife. That's our other ear. There we go. So now we've got our two ears. We have the beginnings of our carvings. Now we're actually going to move on to doing some of the detail. I'm going to do the eye and the nostril first. Take your knife, and then whilst your template's still on top of your sponge cake, you just want to poke your knife through the paper and just give it a bit of a wiggle through the sponge, just so you know that you've definitely marked the sponge. Same with the nostril. So just poke your knife through the paper, give it a little bit of a wiggle. Make sure you've marked that, which I have. So then I can actually take this off, and then looking at the template where my eye was, you just want to cut out a bit of your sponge where the eye is. Okay, and then the same with the nostril. There we go, the same shape as what's on your template. Okay, right, now that them two bits are done, I'm going to actually cut round the cheek of my horse. So just basically take its neck off and then place that back on. Then we can actually see where the cheekbone is. So you just want to place your knife around there and just score it round. There we go. And then we can take that off, put them back together like that. And now we've got this line, we can actually start to score. So it might help you if you actually look at a picture of a real horse or unicorn at this stage, because you can actually really start to see the 3D effect of it. So for me, I want to take my knife and start carving inwards where I've scored it there, bring that out. And then can you see I'm just bringing my knife round the neckline here, because the cheekbone obviously wants to be more up than the neck. So just start scoring round and really take your time. My pro tip for carving cakes is take your time, because you can remove it, but it's very hard to put it back on again. So just a bit at a time. So now you can see I'm starting to get that jawline. Just keep following your template. Now I want to kind of round this off a bit. So I'm going to go this way with my knife, just rounding it off. And then I'm going to go a little bit deeper here to get that nice jawline. Right, now for the main bit here, just go round with your knife at a slight angle, just to curve the neck round. It's important that you use a sharp knife. Okay, same for the front here. So you want to just take off the edging and make it nice and curved. Just bring your knife slowly round, make a nice curvature. Following your template, keep your template close by. And now for the ear, this is going to be your front ear, if you look at the template, and this ear is your rear ear. So I'm actually going to make this one a little bit flat. I'm going to take a bit off because I want that one to look like it's my behind ear. And our mane's going to come through here. So just round off the head a little bit. This is where it starts to look really realistic. Okay, now round the mouth. So you want to, in fact, if you place that back on, you can see where the mouth is. So just have a look at that. You can see where it is. Remove it again. And then just score a little line here. You just want enough of an indentation that when you put your sugar paste on, you can sort of push it into your indents. There we go. And then finally just coming round here. Make it nice and curved. Making it look much more like a real sort of 3D horse / unicorn. Same with the nostrils. Just bring it round. Right, we're nearly there. Now, if you can see on the template, we've got some lines here. Now, I want to recreate these lines. So here, I just want to take a little bit out of the top here. It's very subtle, but it's all part of what gives it character. And a little bit more here. And you just keep going. Same here, just a little bit of it's like the neck muscle essentially. Right, I think I am about there with that. What I'm going to show you now is when we put our sugar paste on, we want it to kind of go in slightly. So I'm just cutting all the way around the bottom and just taking that edge off. And it's just so we can tuck the sugar paste in a little bit. So you're just taking it out all the way around. There we go. Right, I think I'm happy with that now. So I'm going to have a clear up. You want to get rid of all your excess cake, all out the way, nice and clean, ready for the buttercream. Let's start by getting those ears attached to the head. I've got some really soft buttercream here. And with a palette knife, I'm just going to remove the ear, pop a little bit of buttercream on, and then place the ear back in position. And then just repeat with the other one. Remove and place on. Right then, now that they're on, just wipe my fingers. We can now cover the whole cake in buttercream. So use a palette knife and soft buttercream. And there's no rhyme or reason or right way of doing this. You just want to start smoothing the buttercream on the cake. You just want a really thin layer. Now, pro tip for you, what you may find sometimes when you've got a carved cake, so exposed in a sponge, is that it can get a little bit crumbly. So really good tip. To the left of me here, I've got a jug of very hot water. Dip your palette knife in the hot water till it's nice and warm. Just dry it off. And then you just smooth it over, softening the buttercream slightly, which helps with the crumbs. So just keep going all the way around the cake until the entire thing really is covered. Being gentle around the eyes and nostrils. As I said, just a thin layer. And of course, you must be careful around those ears. So when you do the ears, just make sure you do use the hot water technique. You don't want to start ripping up any of the cake. There, last little bit. Okay, that's lovely. So the cake is covered in my buttercream now, and we're going to have a nice clear up, getting ready for the next bit, which is covering it in the sugar paste. For my sugar paste, I've got about 1 kilo of white sugar paste here, and I'm using the Satinara Luxury Sugar Paste. The reason that I like that sugar paste so much is it's really flexible, and it doesn't dry out quickly. So it's excellent for when you're doing it on shaped carved cakes. It doesn't get that kind of elephant skin texture that you get with some sugar paste. Now what you need to do is roll out your sugar paste about 4 to 5 millimeters thick. Just make sure you have plenty of icing sugar on your surface and just keep rolling it out and then turning it so it doesn't stick until, as I said, it's about 4 to 5 centimeters thick. There we go. Okay. Right, now we're ready to actually cover our cake. So what I like to do is I like to bring the cake to the sugar paste. So just take your rolling pin, flop your sugar paste over the rolling pin and bring your cake in, and then just take the rolling pin and just flop your paste over the cake like that. Right, now the best tool that you can use in this situation is your hands. Right, so we're going to use our hands to smooth the sugar paste down into all them crevices. So let's start by smoothing it on the top, making sure we haven't got any air bubbles. And again, this is what I like about the satinara, is that you can spend time on it, smoothing it out, and it doesn't get that cracking kind of elephant skin. So I really like it for that. Now what we want to do is, like, the most fragile part really now is the ears. But this sugar paste is really stretchy. So you can actually push in and stretch the sugar paste in between the ears, just pinching down. Just use your fingers just to really pinch in on both sides, and then just pinch at the end because we can just cut that off. Okay, that will do for now, just to get the main sort of base shape. Right, now let's move around to the rest of it. So you just pull it out and then smooth it in. A bit like when you're covering just a normal sort of round cake. So you don't get that curtaining around this side as well. And then in here, because you've got quite a gap there, again, you've got that lovely stretch of the sugar paste. So just try and gently tease it in. So you don't want to tear it, so just be very gentle about teasing it in. Like so, and then bring it around. Now at this point, what I'm going to do is get my knife and start trimming. So I'm using the same knife as before because it's nice and sharp. Start off by just going around, not too close. So you've got a bit of leeway, taking off your excess, and just make sure you put your excess up to one side into a ball to stop that from going too hard whilst you do the rest. Cut round. Okay, right, now for the ears, as I said, you were just pinching them before. What we want to do now is take our knife and just trim a bit closer now to the edge, and then again on the inside. So we take out that middle bit, and then on this side. Okay. Now what we want to do is actually pinch the sugar paste here. So pinch it so it joins together, and the same with this one, just pinch. And then what you can do is just trim a bit off, trim a bit off. And basically you're manipulating it with your fingers to get a nice natural shape of an ear. Just going to take a bit more paste off there. And just keep playing with it. You've got plenty of time with this sugar paste. It doesn't dry out. It's really good. Right, so now, once I've done that, I'm going to now start working on the rest. And again, you just now going round the edge and just really bringing it in now so you haven't got any excess. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to actually now just use my fingers to smooth in. Where we trimmed the sponge earlier, underneath here, we can now begin to tuck the sugar paste in, just to help with that kind of curvature of the horse. Let's call it a horse. I mean, it's kind of a horse now, but it will be a unicorn very soon. So just curve that in to get rid of the cut edge. Now that we've done that, we can really begin to bring the features to life. So remember when we made that little indentation of the eye, just want to use your finger to find that again and then just press it in. Make sure you haven't got sharp nails and just find that indentation of the eye like that. There we go. Okay, right, now for the nostril, same again, just a little bit of a hole there. Always refer back to your picture if you want to. What I'm going to do now is I'm just actually bringing my finger in and round, so it's more of a skin around the nostril there. Okay, there we go. Right, and now you want to get them indentations that you did, you want to use your hands and feel your way. Like here, this is the muscly neck. So just use your hands. These are your greatest tools to get these indentations down the horse's nose. Like so. And then bring that cheekbone round like that. Using your hands. Really start to get character in it now. And then for the mouth, again, just use your hands and just feel where you made that indentation. And just pinch it if you want, so you can get that mouth in. There we go. Nice smiling unicorn. Lovely. Right, and then just show you the ears. So for the ears, we've kind of already done them, but I want to shape them a little bit better. So what you do, using the sugar paste that you have, you actually start to squeeze it up quite thin at the top. So this is like actually going above the sponge cake that's inside. And you're kind of creating now a thinner ear. And by doing that and pressing in there, you're actually creating that inside of the ear and flopping the skin over slightly. Just gives it a little bit more realism. And the same here. Just using your hands and your fingers just to create that little floppy earlobe. There we go. Right, well, I think I'm happy with that. We've got our nice shape there. We've got our detail. And we've got our nice ears. So I think that it's done. And now we can really start turning it into the magical unicorn. For the eye, I'm using some black icing here. And for this, I'm using the Creator Cake Classic Ready to Roll icing. Now I've got a sort of a marble-sized amount here. And you just want to roll it into a really smooth ball in the palms of your hand. And then once you've done that, you just want to drop it into the hole you made for the eye. You don't actually need to glue it in. It just places in quite nicely. And then back to our white sugar paste that I used to cover the cake with. And just give it a little bit of a knead. You don't need a lot. Slightly smaller than the eye. And then what you do is you roll that into a little sausage. And then start to sort of roll it into a point on one end. And the same on the other end. I'm just going to remove a little bit of that because it's just a bit too much. There we go. And then you just place that onto the cake, just above the eye, slightly onto the eyeball. It's quite sticky, so you don't actually need glue. Like that. And you're placing it so the line of it goes along down to the nostril. And then repeat for the bottom. There we go. Like that. Okay, and then what we do is we take, I'm just using the end of a paintbrush. What we want to do is blend it. So we just blend the outer edge down onto the sugar paste. And then just bring that in slightly. So the eye is just, the eyeball's slightly covered. We're creating eyelids essentially. And we just want to blend them down. You can actually at this point use your fingers if you want, just to blend. This is another reason why I really like this sugar paste, because it's so flexible. You can actually blend like this. There we go. And now for the bottom one. So I just want to join these together here. So I'm just going to manipulate that up slightly like that. And then again, just blend it down. Just the same as what you did with the top lid. Right, that's quite nice. So I'm happy with that. I've got a nice eyelid there, and it just adds a little bit of a mystical look to the eye. Right, now we're going to do the nostril. And for this, no black needed, just the white. And you want to roll a bit again, just like what you've done. So roll it into a bit of a sausage, quite thin. Like that. And then again, just a little bit thinner at both ends. And this time, what you want to do is actually just place it around the nostril, over the top, like that. Don't worry about the bottom. And then what we do there, it kind of helps if you support it by putting your finger in the nostril to hold it in position, whilst you do the same again. So you blend it on. Just use your fingers if you want, just to really smooth that out. And then that's when we can really, again, start to manipulate the nostril a bit. I want it a little bit narrower at the bottom. Right, now I'm really happy with that. And we're now going to start doing some of the dusting. I've got a pot here with a selection of brushes in. And I've got some black and some white dust. And we're going to do the nostril to start off with. So I've got quite a wide brush here. And I just want to put a little bit on my brush. Now I have got the Colour Splash food colouring dust, and I'm going to just place that right inside the nostril. And you want that quite nice and dark, right inside, till it's all covered. Like that. Now that's done. We then want to start mixing this with a little bit of white. So we start off at the darkest point and then we go lighter. So mix that to a nice grey, like that. And then the thing about dusting to remember is that you can put it on, but you can't easily take it off. So you need to build this up a little bit at a time. So just tap it off your brush. And we just want to go just slightly on the edge here of the nostril, not too much. And then I'm going to move on to the mouth, just a little bit in there, just for now, for this shade, just a tiny bit. There we go. And then I'm going to move on to the eye, and we just want to do, it's a little bit like an eyeshadow really. You're just blending a little bit. Try not to get it on the eyeball, but it doesn't matter if you do, because we can always brush it off. But you just want a little bit over the eye like that. And then just underneath. Right, then what I like to do is then get another bigger brush that's a clean brush and just get rid of the excess like that. I'm going to take a smaller brush now and go straight back in with the dark pure black and actually go into the cracks of the eye here. Just fill that little hole, and that makes it a real lovely shape of the eye by getting right in there. Okay, and again, you just need to get a dry, clean brush to get rid of the excess. Okay, and then I'm just going to go over a little bit more and just start to blend out a little bit. really blending. There we go. Okay, right, get rid of the excess. Right, now that's the kind of base done in terms of my eye and nostril with the black and white or the grey. I'm going to now go a bit further out actually onto the neck and the rest of the unicorn. Just a bit more detail. So you want to kind of go around the mouth a little bit more with a lighter grey. And then down here, you know where you kind of made them indentations to show off kind of the muscle of the neck? And then a bit of shadow here around the jawline. And then down here. Anywhere where you made a bit of an indentation. Remember, just take it steady. You can build it up, but it's not easy to remove it. There we are, a bit of blending. It's like putting makeup on. Nice blending. Just a little bit up here. Okay. Right, I think I'm pretty happy with my grey now, but I will keep that nearby. But I'm just going to swap over now and bring in this. Now what I've got here, this is the colour splash, and this is in the copper colour. It's a gorgeous colour, especially for like a magical unicorn. And I'm going to use this now on the ears and the nostril. I'm going to use my fairly wide brush that I had earlier. I'll just clean the grey off it. I'm going to start off by putting it on the ears. And you just want it on the inside of the ears. So just brush it in like that. It's all dry brushing this. You don't need any rejuvenator. Nice dry brushing, and it means you can really blend it nicely. And then same again with the other one, where you made that nice indentation. Lovely. I love the sparkle on this. Right, let's just brush off that excess. Lovely. Right, now for the, I'm calling it a nostril. It's kind of like a muzzle. I'm sure it's called a muzzle. So I actually want this big brush now. Now here we really do need to be gentle and really build it up bit by bit, because you kind of want to go over the whole of the muzzle. And blend gently up towards its kind of cheekbone. And it's got this gorgeous shimmer to it, which when creating something mystical, I think really adds to it. Right, I think we're about there. I think that looks good. So can you see how that's really brought it to life with the nose? Now, we're there with the muzzle, but I just want to use a bit more of this bronzer now on the eye. Because what this does, it's almost like eyeshadow. I think that's why I quite like doing this. It's like applying makeup. I just want to put some above, not below, just above. So we've got the natural colour here, but now we want to kind of add a little bit of shimmer. So just above. Like that. Can you see that lovely shine? Just, again, get rid of the excess. Then go again. That's nice. Love that. Okay. How lovely is that? That looks really good. Now I'm going to get a clean brush, and I just want to just brush a little bit, or just to clean the eyeball up a bit. I just want to get rid of any excess powder. There we go. And then I've got a little bit of my sugar paste here, a tiny bit of white, the tiniest amount. Just put it into a bowl, and then you want to, this is a bit fiddly. I've got it. Right, now it's on. Let me just get in position. And then, actually I'm just going to use a brush because it's not sticky like my finger. And just place that on. There we go. And that really brings it to life because it gives that lovely kind of shine to the eye. Right, I really like that now. It's really started to bring it to life with all the details. So I actually think now we're ready to start on the mane. This is probably my favourite part of this video because this is where we get to play with colour. I've got about 18 shades of colour in front of me here, and you would have thought that I would have had to buy a lot of coloured sugar paste to get them, but actually I've made all of these just by these 5 colours here. I've got the green, the blue, the red, yellow and the pink of Creator Cake Classic Ready to Roll Icing, and I've mixed them together with some of the Satinara white to create all of these different shades, and I'm going to demonstrate one of them now. I've got some white here, let me just move these out of the way, and some blue and green, and I just want to literally take these and knead them all together. Now look at this, we're starting to get this beautiful kind of like aqua green kind of colour. Completely different to these here. So look at that, isn't that gorgeous? So there, from kneading that, we've got like an aqua colour. Then we can get another shade from that just by splitting it in half, adding some more white and kneading these together. And look at that. So I've got 2 different shades here, all created just by the green, the blue and the white. If you want to learn how to make more of these colours, we've actually got some stills at the end of the video. So now these are all done, let's start actually creating the mane. I want the unicorn to look windswept, and I've got a really good technique here on how to do the mane to make that look. So I've got some of my coloured sugar paste, and I'm just going to roll it into a long sausage that's thinner on one end. Okay, now once you've done that, all you do is just flatten it slightly. You don't need a rolling pin, you can just use your hand. Just flatten it slightly. And then take a palette knife and you want to score 2 lines in it, going down to the tip. Like that. But I want a really thin end here. And what's great about this sugar paste is it's so stretchy. So watch this. I can literally just pull that. And I've got this lovely thin end here. So then, just cut this end off like that. And now you can actually start wiggling it. So you can just wiggle it into a nice kind of curl. But look, you can actually then turn it upright on its side. You can really manipulate this sugar paste and it just doesn't dry out. So just have a little fiddle, put it up on its side. And that way, you've got a beautiful section of a mane in one of the colours, like that. Now, make a few of these in different lengths and different colours, and then just leave them for a few minutes, and then once you've done that, I'm going to show you how we actually start to put them onto the unicorn. As you can see, I've made a few different colours now, different lengths and different wiggles of shape. We're going to start now putting these actually onto the board. I've got some edible glue here, and I'm going to take my bottom one, and they hold their shape, but they're still wiggly enough that you can manipulate them. I'm just going to put a bit of glue on the underside, like that. And I'm going to start by sticking this one just here. And then moving on to the next one. A little bit of glue on the other side. And then place that one on. Now we want this to look really magical. And like I said, windswept. So once I've got these on, I'll just have another look and make sure I'm happy with the placement. So the mane is really kind of flying through the air. Let me go up. I like this one. You get little lengths occasionally that you quite like. I like this pink one because this one's nice and long. So this one goes up here where it's really flying through the air and it's really up there. I like that one. Okay. And then we'll get this one on. Now I've got these onto the board, we're going to start working on the next part of the mane, and that's actually starting on the unicorn's neck and actually flowing them down. For the rest of the unicorn, I've made up strips of mane for every single colour that we made. And this time I haven't actually curled them because we're going to curl them and shape them actually as we place them on the cake. So what you need to do to start off with is just get some edible glue And just place that along the edge of the neck of the unicorn, just here. Right, so I'm going to start off with my bottom colour. You need to start from the bottom and work your way up. And I've got this lovely kind of red here. And what we do, now we just want to flatten the edge a bit up here, the cut edge. And then what you do is you just kind of fold it over. Just take a bit off there. And you fold it because you don't want to see the cut bit. So you just place it on like that, almost slightly folded over like that. And then once that's on, then you start to fiddle with your bit of mane. But don't worry too much because I've made all of these colours and they're still really flexible. They haven't dried out. So you can actually keep going back and fiddling until you're happy. So let's just get that on to start with. Then I'm going to move on to my next colour. And again, just flatten out the top a little bit. Like that. Just fold it over. And you almost want to layer it on top slightly. So it's slightly overlapping onto your colour below. Like that. Stick it on. And again, have a little bit of a fiddle and play around with the curves and the curls. And then onto the next one. Again, get nice and flat and curl it over. Slightly overlapping. You don't want too many gaps between. You want them overlapping. Again, nice curly bits. There we go. On to the next one. You're really just repeating as you go up the cake. Right, now this is the last piece for the neck part of the mane. So I'll just wiggle that around. It looks fabulous. I'm so pleased with it. It looks amazing. Okay, so now I've done that, we're going to work on the fringe. I've got a tiny little bit here, and I just want to put that over here on this side. So place it on, and then give it a little bit of a wiggle. Like that. Is so cute. There we go. And then just get enough edible glue here. Right. I quite like to overlap them here. So you can sort of put one on top of the other like that. And just squish them down a bit. And then just tuck them in. Like that. Then you can sort of twist them. Play with them a little bit around the eye area. And then bring that one in. There we go. Perfect. Right, I love that now. It looks gorgeous and so magical. But of course, there's one more thing that we have to do, of course, and that is the horn. To make the horn, I've got some modelling paste here, and I'm using Culpit's white modelling paste. The reason for that, rather than the sugar paste, is that it needs to set quite firm. So I've already kneaded this so it's nice and pliable. And then all you do is you want to roll it into quite a long, reasonably thick sausage. And as you're rolling, you want it slightly narrow at one end. Now, here's a really good tip for you. When you're rolling things like this, if you find that your fingers can be a little bit uneven with pressure, you can always use a smoother. And if you do your smoother, it gives you consistency as you're rolling it. So just apply some pressure like that. But you want it, as I said, thicker on one end. Okay, so then we take a lolly stick and you want to paint a bit of edible glue along it. Just like that, around, all the way around it. And then take your piece of modelling paste and you want to start rolling it around. But I kind of don't start from one end because I don't want to pull it and tear it. So I start from the middle so it's got some support. Don't worry that it doesn't go at the end, to the end at this point. Then get the rest of it on. Just keep turning it around till the rest of it is on. There we go. Just wrap that round. Then once that's on, we then kind of push it to the top. Squeeze it up to the top like that. And then we just take a sharp knife and just trim the bottom and then wrap it round like that. You want it nice and flat at the bottom because it's actually got to sit on the nose of the unicorn. There we have it. So there we are. Nice, lovely horn there. Okay. Right. Now you need to leave that to dry overnight, ideally. And I've already done one. So here's one I made earlier. So this one is nice and firm. And now I've got this one. I'm going to colour it. So what I've got here, I'll just bring this in. Colour Splash, Copper Sparkle Sugar. And I've got a selection of brushes. Now this is the same as what we used earlier on the horse's muzzle. And it's so gorgeous. So we're going to colour our horn in this same colour. So just get some on your brush and just dust it. And just keep layering it up all the way around across the whole of the horn. Right, so now we've got a lovely dusting of that. I'm going to now add some of this. Now this is, again, Colour Splash, and this is the Gold Sparkle Dust. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of that onto my tissue paper. And then get another brush. And then dab this on. And just bring that on. And I love this. Absolutely gorgeous. Really, really sparkly. And perfect for a unicorn's horn. So just place that all the way around. And right on the tip there. And it looks lovely. Gorgeous. Right, so now that's done, we can actually place this onto the unicorn. To attach the horn to the cake, just first of all line it up, and you want it going upwards, just slightly above the eye. And then once you've got it lined up, you just want to poke it in through the cake all the way. And then just place it so it's right in, touching like that. That looks fabulous. I love it. Now I've got some finishing sparkle here just to add a touch of magic. So I'm just going to pump spray this on. So just cover the eye because I don't want anything on my eye. So just a little bit of sparkle there. And then I'm going to put a little bit on the neck, but I don't want too much on the mane. So I'm just going to put my hand over the mane, not to cover too much them beautiful colours. There we go. Lovely. Right, you can see I've also put some ribbon around the board just to finish it off. Now look at this, the finished unicorn, and doesn't it look absolutely magical? I really hope that I've inspired you to have a go, and if you do want to have a go, a list of all the products we used is in the description. And if you don't want to miss the next video, don't forget to subscribe and comment because we love to read them.